Another live tarot reading for you guys over here on YouTube. Thank you so much for following me and joining me today. I was actually on here just a couple minutes ago, but I had to pop off for a moment. But I'm back, and the way I want to structure today's reading is I want to do basically it's like a live pick a card reading. So essentially, those of you who are watching back will be able to pick a card. Those of you who are just popping into the chat will probably be within one of the groups that I'm setting out here. So there's 3 groups, okay? And I'm going to hold up a card, and then you guys get to pick which one you like, and then I'll reveal the cards as along. Do want to say real quick, and I said it, a couple minutes ago, that I've been feeling there's a lot of pressure put on me at this time to kind of I don't know, save the world or something like that. And I wanted to let everybody know that I'm just a person. I have my own problems, I have my own issues, and I don't have all the answers. And I'm showing up because I'm called to do so, because I have the time to do so. If I had a full-time job, I wouldn't be able to. So it's important that you guys know that why I'm doing this, and I'm doing this because I'm called, and to hopefully be able to shine some light on things and inspire people. And the world right now needs more inspiration, but I can't carry the world myself. And I think back in the past, I think I tried. I really tried, and I think that it was a sign that I hadn't really matured into myself yet back then, because I was trying to save the world, and I know that I can't. And I think that it's important that people respect me as a person and see how I'm really just showing up as a person. I'm a humble person, that I have the best intentions for my channel. I don't always get it right, but I'm trying my best to show up in the best way that I can. So I have to say that it's important. I also want to say that YouTube, I found in the past that there was a lack of reciprocity. And if I continue to feel that energy, then I will, record less and put YouTube again basically on the back burner, because I just didn't feel the reciprocity before. I also want to say too that I am very much wanting to promote my Etsy shop, my Birds Fly Etsy shop. The link is going to be in the comments. I'll put it in the comments below. I will have a whole bunch of handmade stuff on there. And in the future, I really want to be making more handmade stuff. Eventually, I'll have my own tarot deck that will be available for purchase, maybe over there or Amazon or wherever I can. But yeah, let's jump into the reading. If you would like me to answer your questions, it's $25 per question. You'll have to send a payment through Venmo, or Cash App or PayPal, and I can see it in the chat. So I do want to check the chat, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Okay, so yeah. And this reading is more of a pick a card reading and less about personal questions, but you can ask personal questions as long as you send a payment through Venmo for $25. Okay, so card number 1 is this card here for group number 1. Group 2 is this card here. Card 3. Okay. So I'm just going to jump in, starting with group 1. Group 1 is the Ten of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles. And I'm going to pull some other cards to see what other things I get for this. There's an energy of feeling stuck, but I don't feel like that's... I don't feel like you're going to be stuck for too long. That's what I want to say. I feel like there's 2 modes of operation. There's the feeling of stuck, and then there's this feeling of what I would consider to be trying. You're trying to keep things going. Maybe, focusing on your family, focusing on kids, taking care of what you need to get taken care of. But there's two modes of operation. One is this stuckness, and one is this focus on family. I feel like if you also don't realize, okay, so you got the Six of Cups here as foundational energy. You don't realize that there's money coming in, This may be right now, small amounts of money coming in, but later bigger, larger amounts will come in, either through a new job or through, maybe it's donations, maybe it's people helping. I don't know what that money, where that money's coming from, but it's coming in, and you don't see that coming quite yet, but that will happen. I'm not really resonating with the story of these cards. Like, there really isn't a story. So some of you need to create your own story. You need to write it in. You need to say, okay, this is what I want in my life. This is what I'm going to do with it. And this is how I'm going to go about getting it. To me, there is too much over focus on, I don't know, that there's no room in your life for things. That's the thing about this group, is that there's not enough room for the things that maybe you want. There is a strong single-minded focus on career for some of you. Some of you, there is a strong, like, spending way too much time on the computer or the cell phone. To me, this can also indicate substance problems, but for some people, there is the card about arrogance showing up too, which is about, I always say the roots of evil are arrogance and ignorance, and for someone who has some growing up to do. This is where, if you come across this person, or if you're on this path yourself, this is where, a little bit of self-reflection, a little bit of, like, information seeking, like self-help kind of stuff would be helpful. Because, to me, there's this energy about, I'm seeing this story, okay? So, like, the story is, like, it feels like the story is that you're kind of stuck in this glass house, or like in a house. And the house is sort of like this cage, or, it's sort of like this cage. And you can't see how, if you left this house, or left the spot where you're in, how it would feel. And you can't really see how it feels for maybe someone else, because they're not in your shoes. So to me, this is like, I'm seeing the shoes too. So, like, those of you who are watching for this group, this is needing to put yourself in other people's shoes. Absolutely. Arrogance is where, to me, it's thoughtlessness. Ignorance is where somebody doesn't know better because they were never taught better. And together, this is like a root of evil, because when somebody's ignorant, they don't know better, so they don't do better, so that it's like they pass that on to their kids. So it's like, like if your parents taught you to wake up and eat fried food every day for breakfast. Let's just say the fried food was like deep fried onion rings. Okay, this is like an example. There's ignorance there, right? Because it's not a healthy diet. It's not a great way to start the day. But if your parents taught it to you, you're going to believe that it's healthy, and you're going to imitate it, and you're going to do that. To me, that's ignorance. Arrogance is where someone absolutely does not have the thought process of how it would feel for somebody else to be, going through something. Or arrogance is where, to me, arrogance, I'm going to give you a great example of arrogance, is where you kill all of the weeds outside on the sidewalk, but don't care about what all those toxins are going to do to the planet, how they're going to run into the water, how it's going to kill all the fish, how then all the fish dying is going to affect the birds, how the birds are then also going to die. And also all of that weed killer also kills whatever is wild that's growing that might live, that might help the bees, like wildflowers, that might help the butterfly population. To me, that is arrogance, you know? So that's showing up here too. I don't know why this is showing up. To me, there's also this logic and reason card. Logic and reason, where the energy is very much in the head. It needs to get pulled down into the heart space. And this is also someone who just does not know. I wrote someone who doesn't know what love is. A lot of times this is a person who's like overthinking things in an unhealthy way, where they don't have the experience of knowing what it is to feel like love, or what it means to have like a heart-based connection. To me, that's showing up too. These energies could be people around you. This could be experiences that you're going through. It's going to be different for everyone. To me, there's a lack of a story, so it's hard for me to pick up on what the story is. But I feel like what this is all heading to, or what it's all leading to, is a kind of transformation. Either we die or we transform. And what's necessary at this time is to feel the connection to life. There's this one song by Mozart's Heroes. It's I'm not saying, Despacito song. And when I hear it, I don't know, I get all this, what I call life energy, into my left arm. It literally, like when I hear that song, or even just talking about that song, I get all this life energy. And I have this, I'll show you guys. This Rose of Jericho, okay? And this is a dried, it looks like it's totally dead, but it's not, okay? It's not dead. And if you put it in water, and I did a post on this, if you put it in water, this will blossom, in the sense that it will open, okay? And I'm a little bit allergic to it. But when it opens, and even now, like, I can feel its energy, but like when it opens, I feel like an absolute rush of life energy. I feel like the life energy is literally going into this plant. And I can feel it happening because it happens so fast. Like, it only takes like a couple of hours for it to happen. It's like the growth process, like that's like speeding up, that normally is very slow. So like normally you don't feel when the flowers blossom. You don't feel the energy that comes in to allow them to blossom. You don't feel that in the springtime because it happens slowly. But with this plant, I can feel it happening, and I feel that energy, and it's very much life energy. And you guys need to feel that. Like, there's something about group 1 that needs to feel that energy, to feel the life energy. Because if you don't feel the life energy anymore, you don't feel like a transformative energy anymore, then it's very easy to get pulled down into the transformation. And the transformation is incredibly painful. The growth process is incredibly painful. And to me, this can indicate gardening. This can also indicate the connection to Mother Earth and baby spirit energies. To me, it's the life energy. This is the Galactic Core from my Galactic Heritage deck. So, I do want to move on to group 2. This is a complicated group 1, but I'm going to continue on to group 2 and see what happens. I haven't seen anybody in the live chat yet. Looks like someone's watching, but nobody in the live chat yet. So I have to put these cards away, and I have to do this one-handed. This is why I need a new tablet. Okay. So, group two. Those of you who are going to be watching this later and seeing group two. Group two is this card here. But to me, this is all about light work. This can indicate a person specifically that comes into your life to teach you something. And usually, this is the kind of thing. Hey, Giselle. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's okay. It's all good. I do the same thing too. I drive and listen to some channels too, so it's no problem. Giselle, if you did have a question, you would need to send the payment through Venmo. I know you're driving, so you probably can't, but you would have to do that, or PayPal or Cash App, in order for me to read for you specifically. But going back to this is where a person shows up into your life to teach you a lesson, and it can be very difficult. Like specifically, this I pulled for a person who taught me that I was living in the void, who taught me about the void. And it was very challenging. And some of those things that I learned from that person, I still think about. I still cherish because I learned so much, and I'm grateful to that person. But when this person shows up, it's not always easy. It's not always like, like we all would get into our head and we think, okay, this is going to be happily ever after. This is Mr. Right. This is Mrs. Right. This is the one. But usually when this person shows up, it's a person to teach us something. Sometimes it's a very hard lesson. And sometimes, like if you're the light worker, it's not easy for the person you're teaching the lesson to, and sometimes it's really not even easy for you. It's much harder to be the student than the teacher, because there's pressure. Those of you who are what I call living in what's called the void. Living in the void can be, can go on for long periods of time. And to me, what that means is living in a state of feeling like you never have what you need, or like you're never going to get what you need, or like you're never going to get what you want, or like, you're always striving to fill your energy with stuff that you think is going to make you feel better. But really, that's the illusion, because with the void, it really is never enough. And people can live, it's sort of like a car that's running on empty, And the thing about it is that the illusion is that we tend to think that we tend to kind of fall into a trap of thinking that certain things are going to fulfill us when it really isn't. And thinking that we're always like in a state of like okay, and it's capitalism too. Like it's capitalism, it's housing, it's a lot of other things that factor into this void. It's not just like us, okay? So it's not like you wake up in the morning and go, it's another great day to live in the void. The void to me happens when you've been, I don't know, in somewhere the word brainwashed comes to my mind about not knowing how to fill up your energy in a natural way, how to shift your energy into a positive way, how to get in touch with what source is. And when I think of source, I think of the ocean. So basically, when I think of source, I think of the shower. I think of water. When I think of source, I think of a field of flowers. When I think of source, I think of this plant energy, this life energy, When I think of source, I think of the sun, being outside in the sun, interacting with the natural world. That's all source. But it's also, source to me is also beliefs that are not limiting. Beliefs that allow us to recognize our full potential. Beliefs that are self-sustaining and like self-love, self-worth, where we don't have to outside of ourselves to feel good. Where we wake up in the morning and go, I'm a beautiful person today. I'm going to show up in the world as a beautiful person today. And that's, to me, source. Because source is complete. Source is not broken. Well, source is broken, but that's another story. Source is complete as a whole. And we don't have to continue on feeling broken or feeling like we're living in a void or living with nothing, because we're really all complete 100% of the time. We really are. It doesn't feel that way, and it's a pain in the ass to go through life sometimes, because it doesn't really, there can be a lot of issues around that. But if you start to shift your perspective into learning about filling up your energy, and not seeking outside of yourself to feel or have or be what it is that you think that you need, then you will have learned this lesson. You just will have learned it. It's hard going through this, because when you're in the void, it sucks. When you're in the void, it's never enough. No matter what you do, it's never enough. And sometimes the void can be it can swallow. Like, it can swallow a person completely, where it feels like there really isn't anything left. But the thing is, it's totally an illusion. It's completely 100% illusion, because there absolutely is always everything that you need in source. So you don't have to be constantly outside of yourself to fill up what's empty within you, because you already have, you can reach out to source at any time. You can connect to source at any time. And people look to material stuff to fill their energy. And the reason a lot of times people struggle with material things is not having maybe what they want, is because they have been in void energy. They don't know how to fill up their energy with natural energy. So maybe they seek it to be in a relationship. Maybe they seek fulfillment in a relationship, or maybe they seek fulfillment in something outside of themselves. Maybe it's getting a new car that they want, or maybe it's fulfilling to constantly go shopping, or material things. But it'll never be enough when you're living in the void, which is a mentality of lack, which is a mentality of never enough, which is a mentality of the definition of not being enough, not having enough, not, being worthy. This is group 2. This to me is the main energy for you. The foundation of your spread is this warrior energy, which can indicate again the light worker, someone who shows up, who shows up and is shines the light bulb. But it's not easy. Again, it's not easy. It's not easy because when you're a light worker, your energy doesn't always mesh with other people's. Number one. Number two, it doesn't always. The message isn't always clear, or the message doesn't always go over very well. Usually people think, usually people feel, instead of they're being taught a lesson, they feel like they take it personally. But really, everything that's being taught, everything that I'm saying right now, is part of this getting out of this void. Getting out of this void energy. Everything that I'm saying, some people may go back to being in the void and be like, well, that's very woo-woo and that's great, but that doesn't help pay the rent. That doesn't help get me a job. That doesn't help get, my kids fed. That doesn't help, blah, blah, blah. You know what? And you know what? That's fine. There is a stubbornness to this energy. The stubbornness of this energy can also be stubbornness. The stubbornness of this energy is resistant to understanding this spiritual concept of the void. It took me my entire life to figure this out. My entire freaking life. And when I finally grasped onto it, it was a game changer for me. Now, does that mean I don't have issues. I have my own issues. I'm currently unemployed, so, like all of the material stuff I totally get, you know, but, um, but I know the difference between living in a void state versus living in source state. I know the difference now. I know that, and really this is what it's really about. It's really coming to the conclusion that in some way it's owning it, being like, you know what? That's right. I've been living in this void. I haven't had what I've needed. I haven't had Jack. I haven't had Jack, and nothing's shown up, or at least it hasn't shown up the way I wanted, and a person hasn't shown up, and relationships suck, and a lot of shit's happened, and people have died, and I'm in the void, Like, people, honestly, like, my hope with this reading is that for some of you, whoever is listening, maybe later in time, whoever is listening can say, yeah, I get it. I was living in the void. Or I'm living in the void and I don't want to anymore. How do I change? How do I shift? How do I make something manifest? Or how do I, to me, it literally is just sticking your nose in the air and knowing that you are completely complete and you have everything that you could possibly ever want, Oh, hey, Rizzy. Thanks so much for joining the chat. I appreciate it. Oh, hey, Heather. Thanks so much for joining. I'm glad this is helping someone because honestly, this was a really hard lesson for me to learn personally. Really, really hard. Because I'm stubborn, and I'm practical. And I'm like, and I totally believe that the universe does not give a shit about rent, does not give a shit about jobs, does not know, because honestly, on a spiritual level, the spiritual shit is in control. Okay, we are a part of this program. Okay, we are. So people like totally deny spiritual stuff, but we're in a program, which is all like based on astrological programming. Hey, Mirage. Hey, Maria. Thanks so much for joining. Mirage, if you want to ask a question, you will need to send a payment through Venmo or Cash App or PayPal. Preferably Venmo. Venmo is the fastest right now, but you could send it through PayPal. Aw, thanks, Heather. I appreciate it so much. Oh, so I was talking about spiritual energy. Okay, so I wanted to just make this point. This is really important for you guys and those of you who are watching. Spiritual energy is crucial. Like the whole thing about understanding that we're part of source and that we can plug into source at any time. It's like literally plugging into this power socket on the wall. The shit that drains us is the void mentality. Because we are not plugging in to the truth or to source or to energy that's going to fill us up. And there is something that's coming up here about feeling drained. This could be somebody that's draining your energy. This could be a negative person in your life. Someone who's not living out of source. Someone who's living in the void. A lot of times, this can be a person who drains other people's energy because they don't know how to plug into source. Plugging into source is, to me, an everyday thing. And it's okay, so this is interesting because this gets into spiritual stuff. And hi, Cup of Tea. Thanks so much for joining. This gets in. I used to have this. I once had this argument with my friend Sam, who's also another light worker. And she was like, well, have you cleared your energy today? And at the time, I was like, what do you mean? My energy's already up there. Why do I need to clear my energy every day? Why do I have to function in the spiritual world? Why do I have to function understanding Hi, Cup of Day. You're asking the question of a Cup of Day is asking. Okay, this live chat is a pick a card reading. Um, and I'm on group two. Group two is all about learning learning some hard lessons. This was the card that I picked for group two. And I'm not yet moved on to group three, but this is what this live is about. So I'm a tarot reader, and I'm reading the cards, and I'm talking about things that have shown up in the cards. So, like, this warrior energy showed up really strongly here, and I'm talking about really what this card was meant to me when I went through my experience with the void. And anybody who resonates with that is going to understand that usually people who are living in the void know. They know that they're living in the void. They know that because they're drained. Because they don't know how to fill up their energy. Because they're going, little Maria says, I'm learning hard lessons. Yeah, because they're going through some very tough lessons. And when you're the student of the spiritual stuff, it can be really hard because we are living in a very physical world, and there's these demands on us about taking care of our car, taking care of our apartment, vacuuming the floor, making sure our trash gets taken out, all that stuff. Well, I'm proud of you, Heather, for saying that you're living in the void, because at least and at least you can say, okay, I'm going to try to not live in the void any longer. I'm going to really try to fill my energy up. So this goes back to what I was talking about, where I was talking about my friend Sam, how she was like, have you cleared your energy? We need, like, as a planet, as a collective, we need to start understanding that it's very important to continuously work on our energy, because there are people that will drain us, because there are people that will show up in our life without the best intentions. There are people around that are living out of the void so bad that they're creating a lot of negativity. And the people that are living out of the void really, really bad, really, really, really bad, don't realize that they're in the void. They're oblivious to what the void is. And they're angry all the time. Their whole life is drama. Their whole life is just, what it is. It's very selfish. Usually it's very self-focused. So that's how you know. That's absolutely, and I think to some degree, we have all been taught to live in the void. But the thing that people aren't realizing, especially with this lesson, is that if we acknowledge, okay, it's our responsibility to work on our energy, to clear our energy, to do things that feed us, that feed our soul, without depending on our happily ever idea of perfection, without depending on the expectation that a relationship or that a person is going to come into our life and fulfill us, or without depending on whatever external stuff that we think that we want or need is going to fulfill us. It's very much a shift. It's a huge, huge shift, which is why I'm talking about this at length, because this is a very challenging lesson. This is a very challenging energy, and people just simply don't know. It's sort of like, and a diet change may happen for some of you, but that is also part of shifting energy. Like, the shift might be, for some of you, like changing your diet. It's like when you change your diet, you're taking better care of yourself, and you're knowing yourself, and you're no longer expecting someone else to tell you how to take care of yourself, And when you live in the void, you go and you buy the potato chips. And sometimes it's necessary to buy the potato chips. Rizzy, it's so synchronistic. Rizzy says, I feel like shit if I don't eat right. Exactly. So that's the void. The void is where you go and you buy the potato chips and you feel like crap. You feel like shit. Because you're expecting those potato chips to fulfill you in some way. it doesn't work and you just feel like crap. Right, when you feel sad, you go and you buy the potato chips and the popcorn, and you should not eat them in combination, you know? And so it's one of those things where uh, it's just, I don't know. Okay, it says, oh, I know my boyfriend's self. Yeah, you know, the void does make us feel lost. It makes us feel a little bit lost because no matter how much we try to fill our life, whether it's diet or, yeah, feelings of inadequacy, the programming itself for the void is all about low self-worth, low self-esteem, not taking care of yourself, not loving yourself. It's all about trying to find or having the expectation that somebody else is going to fill you, And then if you're living, okay, let's just say, Maria, this is an example. If you're living with someone who's living in the void, no matter what you do, it'll never be enough for them. They will never be satisfied. And it can go vice versa. If you're living in the void, no matter what somebody else does for you, they could give you $100 million. It'll never be enough. It'll never. And this is really hard to talk about. But like with my dad, and I'm wearing his shirt today. Again, I wear my dad's clothes, so you know, so people don't judge me. I wear my dad's clothes because he passed away, and it's the only way that I can feel like I can cope with the fact that he's gone. So I wear my dad's clothes, and if you see me wearing my dad's shirts, that is why. But anyways, with my dad, he gave me so much. Both my parents did. And I couldn't figure out why. For so long, it was never enough. No matter how much they gave me, I always felt like it wasn't. And he just gave me so much, which I am so grateful for. But it just never felt like it was enough. Try Lay's Poppables. Who said that? Potato chips? Are we talking about potato chips? I mean, totally. I mean, like, okay, the thing about it is that we all totally live in some version of the void. It's just some people... Okay, so we have somebody in the chat who I need to put on a timeout. Just a moment. I don't know what this is. Probably a bot of some kind. So where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So like, the mild version of the void is, going out and buying the potato chips because you feel like it's going to help your emotional state, That's part of the void. The other part of the void and we've all done that, The other part of the void that's really, really challenging, I think, is that people, like I said, like the people that are so hard into the void that it's never enough for them, that they will do whatever it takes to feel satisfied. And it's interesting. I've been thinking about this concept for a while, how, like, I think that sometimes a lot of people suffer from actual literal malnutrition. And I think in some way all of us are suffering from some level of malnutrition. Like, does everybody eat superfoods every day and like juice and like, have like eat all their vegetables and have their amazing green powder? I mean, like, no, we don't. And I think on some level there is something about actual literal malnutrition that most people are suffering from, which contributes to their level of not feeling satisfied. But I also feel like we also have a responsibility to ourselves to work on our energy, work on where our focus is, work on our, what's going to fulfill us and what's going to be satisfying to us, without external sources, without the potato chips. It's a challenge. It is absolutely a challenge. But I like the suggestion of the Lay's potato chips. I personally like the kettle chips, the Dijon honey, or Dijon, yeah, the Dijon honey kettle chips. I'm obsessed with those. It's real bad. But, you know, everybody has their level of the void. We all live in some level of the void. It's just, and it's not about like, okay, one day, like, you're going to be out of the void completely and you'll never go back. That's not how it works. When you recognize that you're in the void, it's a process. It's a process. It's sort of like taking steps in a direction which you're no longer functioning from. Some people fast. Some people find fasting helpful. People aren't really paying attention to blood sugar. I truly believe there is I think it's called the Code. It's a book that everybody should read. That talks about intermittent fasting. But in general, like if everybody had superfoods, everybody was eating, juicing and eating amazing greens, superfood powders, and like actually getting some nutritional value from what they're eating and what they're consuming, I think that there is a level of satisfaction that would go up because their body wouldn't be like constantly like, I need something more, go get something more. And then you drive to the store and you buy the potato chips, and that's not what your body really needs. Your body just needs like, actual nutrition. So we could talk about that all day. Okay, I do want to move on to group 3, guys. Group 3. Again, some of you may resonate with this pile also, but I want to talk about this pile and switch gears. If you have questions about the void, please message me. I will answer those questions. I'm not able to answer personal questions unless I see a payment from Venmo come through. Okay, so this is group 3. And I need to take a little sip of water here. Okay, so group 3 is the 8 of Pentacles. And the 8 of Pentacles in my Marseille deck is about getting a new job or having an amazing career. This can also indicate some kind of craft. This can indicate construction. This can indicate craft as far as like actual craft. Some people like do like letter writing and things like that. This can also indicate like, making all kinds of things. Maybe you have an Etsy shop. You're making things with your hands. This is woodworking. This can be also arts, things like that. Any kind of inventions, anything with your hands. If you do stuff like that, the funny thing is I was listening to the radio one day on my way back when I lived in Omaha about how people feel better, like what improves. They did a study and what improves people's level of satisfaction and happiness. And they found that when people do things with both hands, because it activates both parts of the brain, that like say for instance gardening, when you're gardening with 2 hands, or like when you're knitting with 2 hands, or like when you're cooking with 2 hands, that activates part of the brain that I think registers happiness on some level. So anything that you can do with both your hands, whether it's gardening or knitting or quilting, that's going to bring some satisfaction. Just want to say that. I'm going to pull some cards. Huh. Okay, things are going to turn out better than you're expecting, which is a really great message for those of you who are listening, because those of you who do live in the void, or at least have had a struggle with getting things that you want. Sometimes it's just things haven't fallen into place yet. And you did get this Sun card in my Marseille deck. And this is literal, okay? This is literal where you get the check in the mail, where something falls into place, where you actually start to feel good about things, start to feel good about life, and things turn out better than you're expecting. It is a positive outcome. But to me, this is also about things going your way. as well. You might have news from like family. Um, oh, I know what this is. Okay, for some of you, this is like an inheritance. This is it. You know, someone has died, and you get a check in the mail. I'm getting a tingle on that. It's where somebody's passed away, and there's money coming to you from their passing because you also got the death card. And I was like, normally, no matter where the sun card shows up, that usually is literal where like something good is going to fall into place. And usually it's some money coming through somehow. But with this card about the death card, I was like, huh, it doesn't really make much sense. It doesn't actually feel like a blockage. It feels more like, although for some people it could be. Maybe you're really hoping the check's going to come in the mail and it doesn't. But that's not how it feels to me. I'm not getting confirmation on that. Honestly, I don't think that's the message. I think the message is that you're going to get a check in the mail from an inheritance. Like somebody's passed away. Like there's some passing here. Something of passing. Because to me, the sun card is too positive. To me, it's like the sun card overrules whatever this other energy is. It's not a blockage. I honestly don't feel it's a blockage. Oh. Also, this is like having chemistry. Going back to the sun card, this is having chemistry for somebody, like physical touch or like hooking up with someone. This is meeting someone and having like chemistry, like wanting to physically connect with somebody. I'm seeing that too. It's so interesting. So like there's this, I don't know if you follow, I don't know how to say her name right. She's over. Oh, I'm so glad, Heather. I'm so glad you're resonating with this. There's this Instagrammer. Her name's Olivia Osanita, but she did this post recently where the line from it was, "You're not like when you look." I don't know. I want to get it, but I can't get it when I'm live because it's just too in depth. I don't know exactly where it is that I wrote it down. But basically, the message is that when you look back on this time, all you're going to see is magic. You're not gonna think about how stuck you felt or how lost you were. And then in this opportunity, in this lostness, is an opportunity to be found. In this lostness, and to me, there's this energy about feeling lost. And we have one of my blank Marseille cards. And the thing that comes next is the moving and travel card. But to me, that card is also about traveling far and learning much. You know, having gone the distance somehow, somewhere in your life where you learned a lot from those travel times or the people that you met or things that you did. And to me, it's really about, in some way, being like finding yourself. You know, they say when you go on a journey, you find yourself. It's really about finding yourself. And some of you, you know, maybe you're trying to decide whether you move, but to me, there's an element of mystery around moving and travel, and I don't know what that is. It could mean like, there's something about sex and passion coming up here. So like wherever it is you're going, you know, maybe you're traveling somewhere and you're meeting up with someone. But to me, there's a level of like it's hidden. It's hidden from you. You don't see it yet. Like to me, it's like a hidden thing. It's like in some way you're not supposed to know. It's like a surprise. You know, maybe this is a surprise. Maybe it's like a surprise to like, you know, go somewhere and with someone and I don't know. Like, yeah, there's a connection there. You also got the card that says go for it. You are almost there. There may be some delay, just not much longer. Your perseverance, strength will pay off in the end. Results soon follow this. Yeah, again, it's great reward after much sacrifice. So there's some level of sacrifice and rewards coming from that and money coming from that. But to me, this is like there may be this period of time where you're, you know, there's maybe a period of time where you're grieving somebody who is lost, or maybe you feel lost and you don't know what's coming next, and it's yet to be determined. And there's some things that have to happen in that finding yourself. Maybe there's some things that have to happen in that blank spot, and yeah, it's a really cool spread actually. Group 3, it's a really cool spread. I have to check my live chat because I'm not seeing everything. I think that's where I want to leave off, guys. I'm going to leave it open for this chat open for a little bit. If somebody wants to send $25, and I will answer a personal question. Hi, Cloud. If you want to ask a question, please send $25 through Venmo. Like I said, I'm leaving this chat open for just a little bit longer. I have to be careful because I'm down to 10% on my cell phone. I don't know actually if I'm able to right now then. I'm only at 10%. My cell phone does not like to go down that low. I actually, Cloud, if you have a question, please send a payment for a personal reading. That's what I would say. And everybody else who wants to get a reading or ask questions, please send a payment through. You can send a payment through Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. You can also book it through Etsy. Right now I'm preferring PayPal or Venmo. But yeah, it looks like my cell phone is being really weird and kind of slowing down. So I'm going to head off. Thank you guys so much for being amazing, loyal fans and subscribers. I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, if you want to send a donation, also you can send it through PayPal. I send everyone big hugs, big kisses. I will talk to you guys again soon. All right, take care. All the best. Bye, guys.